Welcome back, everyone, to another interview from the Draw Control podcast. On today's episode, I'm joined by Junior on the Georgetown women's lacrosse team, Anne McGovern. Last season, Anne played in 17 games and scored 21 goals, had 29 assists, 8 ground balls, 2 caused turnovers, and had 4 draw controls. Before college, Anne was named captain of her high school team during her senior season. She was the team rookie of the year in 2019, was on the Suffolk County All-Rookie Team in 2019, and was twice named Team MVP. And I'm super excited to talk with you today. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And how is everything going?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, your season just wrapped up a few months ago. So I'm curious, what have you taken away from your sophomore year as you reflect on the season now?
Yeah, I mean, individually and as a team, I think our year in general, we had faced a lot of adversity and we learned to grow through change. We had pretty much a brand new coaching staff this year, so I think it just made us a really resilient group. And going into the year, we found out pretty late about our head coach stepping down, so we had kind of 3 weeks where we didn't really have a coach. So I think starting the year like that, we just became really resilient and banded together. And personally, I felt like this year. My main area of growth was in my confidence on the field, and that was a lot due to my new coaching staff. So I was really thankful for them.
Yeah, how do you handle a coaching transition, especially so late in the off season where it happened with their team?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard, but I think a lot of that stuff is out of our control. So we kind of had to focus on things we could control and just getting better each practice, regardless of who is there helping us out, and then just waiting to hear who's going to step into the role. But we were really excited when, after a few weeks of not knowing kind of what was happening, I think we were just really excited to finally hear what the decision was.
Now, what are your plans for this off season? Are there some things you want to improve on, and do you plan on having some fun as well?
Yeah, I definitely plan on kind of relaxing a little bit. But mainly for the off season now, I'm in recovery from an injury. So just going to PT, working on getting stronger and just keeping up with my stick work and stuff and doing as much as I can.
Now you're going to be an upperclassman next year, which is pretty crazy to think about. Have you
I
thought
know.
about, the type of leadership that you want to bring towards the team?
Yeah, I mean, especially last year, having a new coaching staff, I kind of felt like a freshman again and having to learn through all that. So definitely next year, just helping out all those incoming freshmen, being more confident on the field and learning as they go to with our new coaching staff and the changes. I know that kind of coming in, it could be a little overwhelming, a lot of the changes there are to even just practices and everyday stuff. So just helping them as much as I can and being positive on and off the field. And I think growing the relationships off the field are a big part of chemistry on the field. And I think that's something that Georgetown does a really good job of. So just continuing that.
Well, I want to sort of start off the podcast talking about the beginning of your lacrosse career and
Mhm.
sort of work all the way to where we are now. So it says on your bio that you're from Kings Park, New York. So talk about growing up there and how'd you start playing lacrosse?
I mean, lacrosse is a huge sport on Long Island. So I was kind of always around it, but Kings Park specifically, I don't think is really known for their lacrosse. But I started playing lacrosse on a Kings Park PAL team. And kind of growing up, I just played every sport that I could because both of my older brothers played D1 sports and a bunch of sports growing up. I played ice hockey and soccer and basketball, and I'm kind of from a big sports family. So just kind of getting involved in every sport that I could. But being from mainly a soccer family, I think I kind of had a slower start to lacrosse than maybe some other people. And I think my real lacrosse journey started when I joined Long Island Top Guns as a travel team.
Yeah. Are you a big hockey fan or was that a sport you played? Because I'm a big hockey fan, as you can tell from the background.
Yeah, we're a huge hockey family. We're Rangers fans.
Oh, wow. Long Island Rangers fans. You have to deal with a lot of Islanders fans, I assume.
Yeah, but I will say there are a lot of Ranger fans here as well.
That's good. That's good. I'm a Bruins fan, so if you want to exit the Zoom now, I understand. But we both had similar seasons, so we can't
Yeah,
really chirp each other for what happened.
yeah.
Now, growing up, did you have like a favorite lacrosse player or team that you like to watch?
I mean, going back to hockey, actually, my favorite player to watch was Kenzie Kent, because she was an attacker at Boston College and she also played on their ice hockey team. So I think just seeing a girl play ice hockey at such a high level and being able to play lacrosse at the same time, I thought was really inspiring. And also her being such a good lefty attacker was something I looked up to. So I think just seeing a female athlete kind of excelling at two things at once was just a really big thing for me growing up.
Now, before college, you played for Kings Park High School. Talk about your time there. Do you have like a favorite memory with that school looking back on it now?
Mhm. Yeah, even though we weren't the most competitive at times, competitive at times, my favorite thing about Kings Park High School is just being able to play with my friends that I grew up playing every sport with. And I was on varsity for 5 years there, and I think my eighth grade year was definitely my favorite, which is interesting. I feel like people like their senior years are mostly their favorite, but just being a middle schooler, I was definitely like unsure of how I'd fit in on the team with a bunch of older girls, but there were a few other eighth graders with me too, some of my best friends and the upperclassmen just really took us under their wing and even picked us up from like the walker line on the middle school sometimes to take us to like pregame meals, or they would always just drive us everywhere. And it was just a positive experience that showed me like the value of leadership, like on and off the field, because I just really looked up to those girls and like them being friends and so nice to eighth graders. I thought that was really awesome.
Now, you said that your lacrosse career sort of kicked off when you joined Long Island Top Guns. Talk
Mhm.
about your club lacrosse experience for a little bit and how you think it helped prepare you for college with Georgetown.
I think Top Guns in general is just like the best travel team in terms of like preparing their players for college. And I owe a lot of my personal success to Top Guns. Andrew Smith, who is my coach, and the rest of the staff just pour a lot of time into developing every player's skills and pushing them outside of their comfort zones, which is something that I dealt with a lot there. And now, like even when I'm in college, the club is still like investing so much time into me, like and into all their college athletes in terms of like summer and winter trainings, and they keep up with all their players, which I just think is something really unique. And I'm still a part of the Top Guns program coaching there. And I'm just really grateful for all the time that they put in. Their whole staff just puts into a lot of time into all their kids. So
Now, like you mentioned before, you also played soccer growing up as well. How do you think that sport sort of helped you in lacrosse?
I think just being a multi-sport athlete in general was really important in terms of a lot of skills because different sports I think carry over to lacrosse. And I think playing soccer at a high level growing up just helped shape my lacrosse IQ and vision on the field.
Now, talk about your recruiting process with Georgetown.
Mhm.
What was that like for yourself, and what made you want to go there versus other schools you might have looked at?
My older brother Connor goes to school in Virginia, and in August before my junior year, we dropped him off and then drove back and visited some colleges, and Georgetown was one of them. And ever since then, like Georgetown has always been a school that's on my radar because I knew that I wanted to go to a school that had a good combination of academics and athletics, and obviously Georgetown has really high level academics. And ever since I visited that August, going into my recruiting time. I could just really see myself there. And I ended up choosing Georgetown because not only did it have really strong academics and athletics, but it was just kind of the perfect combination of everything I was looking for in a school. Also, in terms of the campus and the location and everything. And I want to study government and go to law school. So I just felt like it was a really good path for me.
Now, what was like the biggest adjustment you had to make to college lacrosse as a freshman?
The biggest thing was just like the speed and physicality. I think defenders are way more physical on and off ball, and it was definitely something I needed to get used to.
Yeah, well, obviously, looking at the stats this past year, you definitely have adjusted very well to that.
Thank
And
you.
I'm just curious, like you play in the Big East, I feel like it's an underrated conference in terms
Mhm.
of women's lacrosse. A lot of great teams like yourself, Villanova, Denver, and UConn. What's it like being a part of that conference and just the teams that you face each game?
Yeah, I agree. Definitely an underrated conference. And I think last year and this year, I think it has become way more competitive, and a lot of teams have gotten better. And even though Denver has won a few years in a row, like I think schools like us, Villanova and UConn, like have continued to become more competitive. And UConn even beat Denver during the regular season. So I think it just kind of goes to show that this year more than any year is kind of anyone's to take. And even though Denver ended up taking it, it was a lot of close games. And just being in a conference that's so competitive every game I think is just really important.
Now, obviously, like you mentioned, Georgetown's one of the top academic universities in the country. How have you learned to balance both lacrosse and academics at such a high level?
I think time management is just a big part of that. Obviously, lacrosse is a huge commitment in terms of lifts and practices and films and everything like that. But I think then you really have to take advantage of the time that you have outside of lacrosse to study and get work done. And I think I was a little bit of a procrastinator in high school, and I've learned kind of that I can't really do that now because I've the little time that I have, but also just as a team in general, I think we're really good at after practice, we all go to the library and we all study and stuff together. And Georgetown has a good staff of people that could support you if you need help, which is awesome. But it was definitely an adjustment. But I think, yeah, the biggest thing is just learning better time management.
What do you think's been the biggest improvement you've made to your game throughout your collegiate career so far?
I think my biggest improvement has just been gaining confidence, honestly. I think I've had certain skills for like a few years that I just need to learn how to use them. And this year specifically, I think I use my vision a lot more and I had a lot more assists than I did the year prior, which I was proud of that I was able to take advantage of the vision I see on the field and that I had teammates who made good cuts and finished for me.
How do you like work on your vision like during the summer? Is it something that is there like any particular drills that you do to make that improvement, or is it something that just comes with more game experience?
I think it definitely comes with experience, but I also just watch a lot of lacrosse, like outside of even just like film of ourselves. Outside of that, I watch a lot of ACC games, Big Ten games. So just watching other teams play too, and watching other feeders and the way that they play. I think it's just important to learn the game and just grow your IQ of it.
Now, in the Big East playoffs this year, your team lost to Denver in the semifinals. Just talk about your team's performance overall this past year, because you guys did improve, getting one more win compared to your freshman year. And what do you think your team needs to do to sort of take that next step and win a Big East championship and make the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I think the loss to Denver didn't really represent as much like our season as much as we'd like it to. I think we didn't play as well as we would hope at that time, and we just kind of got to learn moving forward to play our best lacrosse kind of towards the end of the season. And even though we only had like one improvement in the win column, which is still positive, I think we grew much more than just that one win. And even teams last year that we lost, there were two teams last year we lost to that we beat this year, and those were two disappointing losses. The last year. So I think just getting back and kind of wanting to beat teams that maybe we felt the year prior we didn't really show our best performance of was a huge thing for us. And then also there were just some teams in general that we played much closer games with this year, which maybe it doesn't like statistically, it doesn't show up as us improving in terms of like win or loss. But I think for us, it was a big growing year. And especially having a new coaching staff, it was just a big step for us to show that we can compete with some high level teams. I thought we had a really good game against Maryland and Loyola. And even though we lost both of those games, I think we learned a lot from it that we can like hang with those good teams. We just kind of have to take the next step into being able to beat them.
Now, what are your team's goals and expectations for next season?
Going off this year, like we've been talking about, is a big growing year in terms of a lot of change. Now that we're obviously used to the new coaching staff and their expectations and everything like that, I think just winning more, winning those games, and even though we were competing a lot with good teams, just being able to beat those teams because we know that we can, and just in the off season, really pushing each other and making practices harder than the games so that we're really prepared. And this fall, I think we're going to spend a lot of time just getting fit and working on our stick work.
Well, let's transition now to a segment I like to call the non-lacrosse segment, where I ask you non-lacrosse questions to get to know you more off the field, and I'll try to answer some of these as well to make it a fun segment for the fans to listen to. So, first one is if there was a movie made about your life, who would you want to play yourself?
This one's hard, but I wouldn't pick this person because I think they look like me at all or like really were similar, but just because I really like her as an actress. I would say Zendaya. I watch a lot of her movies and stuff, and obviously she doesn't look anything like me, but I would want her to play me.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I don't know who I would pick. Probably like Ryan Gosling because I would just like
Mhm.
to brag to people that he played me in the movies, and it would just be kind of funny. So that's who I would go with.
That's a good pick.
Now, what is the most underrated holiday and what's the most overrated holiday with 4th of July coming up?
Neither of my answers are 4th of July, actually, but my most underrated would have to be St. Patrick's Day because I'm Irish and because green is my favorite color. And then most overrated, even though I love seeing my family for this holiday, I would have to say Thanksgiving because I'm not a fan of Thanksgiving food, which might
Oh,
be an
wow.
unpopular opinion.
That
Yeah.
that definitely is, I would say, but I like Thanksgiving just because it's a little more low key than Christmas. You
Yeah.
can just chill and watch football and eat food. So
Mhm.
that's why I personally like Thanksgiving a lot. I would say my most overrated is Halloween because I'm too
Yeah.
old to trick or treat. So and that was like the best part about the holiday in my opinion. And
Hmm.
then like
I
if you're not
understand
really
that.
into dressing up and doing that stuff, there's really nothing there for that holiday. So
Yeah.
that's why I would say Halloween's the most overrated. Underrated, I would say probably 4th of July, just because it's a fun sort of holiday in the summer that you don't get to do that much.
Hmm. I agree with this.
Now, what's been the most interesting thing you've read or seen recently?
I honestly haven't read a lot recently, which is bad. But I know it's not supposed to be lacrosse related, but I have been watching some of the highlights from the USA qualifier because I know that the USA team has just posted their roster and stuff. So that's been the most interesting thing to see because I think it's cool to see younger players and older players who have been kind of like iconic in the sport, kind of play together. So it's kind of like old school and new school. So I think that that's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool to see Chloe Humphrey and her
Yeah.
assistant coach be teammates.
Yeah,
And
that's
that
crazy.
you never, I feel like there's no sport where you see something like that. So that's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that's also why I really like watching that stuff.
Yeah, I would say for me, most interesting thing I've seen this week, I don't know, I gotta think about that. Probably just like some history stuff. Like I was reading about Teddy Roosevelt yesterday. I thought he was kind of an interesting person
Mhm.
just because there was a thing where someone like shot him during a speech and like he still continued to do the speech like for another 40 minutes before going to the hospital. So that was pretty interesting to learn about. And he like had to live the rest of his life with the bullet in his body.
I actually didn't know that he was
Yeah.
doing a speech.
Yeah, pretty interesting guy for sure.
Hmm.
Now, obviously, Anne, you have the best style on the Georgetown women's lacrosse team, but besides yourself, who would you say has the best style on the team?
I definitely I appreciate you saying that, but I definitely don't. But I would say Molly Battaglia is a fellow attacker. She definitely has the best style. She's like, I know sometimes in season people get a little lazy when we're traveling with outfits and stuff, but every day she has the best style.
Now, if you could have lunch with anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
I actually don't know. When I prepared for this question, I thought it was kind of like a dead or alive thing.
It could
So
be anybody, honestly.
I would say if it could be dead or alive, I would say my grandfather who passed away this year just because I miss being able to do stuff like that with him.
Yeah. I would say for me, not as good of an answer as you, but Tom Brady, just because he
Yeah.
went through a lot of adversity in his football career, and it'll just be cool to like learn more about like how he handled all that.
Mhm.
So that's who I would pick.
That's a good pick.
Now, what is one show that you could watch all day?
Definitely New Girl or Gilmore Girls. Those are two shows that I actually don't really start a lot of new TV shows. I pretty much just rewatch the same ones. So those are two that I kind of constantly have on a loop.
I would say Modern Family. I think that's always funny to watch. It's
Hmm.
good background noise too, so that's
Yeah.
what I would pick. Now, last non-lacrosse question is, what is one item on your bucket list that you hope to accomplish one day?
It's kind of boring, but I just want to graduate from law school and be able to get a good job in my field, which I know is kind of a lame answer, but that's kind of like my biggest goal outside of lacrosse.
Nice. That's a good goal to have. Is there like any, I don't know too much about like law school, but is there like any particular like type of law you want to focus on? Like I know there's like prosecutors, defenders,
Mhm.
like what type of lawyer do you want to be, or have you even made that choice yet?
I haven't fully made the choice yet, but my oldest brother, Owen, just graduated from law school and he's going to be a prosecutor in Manhattan. So maybe I could learn a little bit about his experience too before going into law school, just to make my decision because I'm definitely not sure. I could see myself going a few different routes. So I'll have to get to law school and then figure it out from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, so you have to go undergrad, then law school, and then that's it? Or then you have to like find a practice after that?
Yeah, you have to pass the bar exam in whatever state you want to practice in, and then kind of there's a bunch of different ways you could go. But like my oldest brother is working at a DA's office. But yeah, just there's a few like many different options, so I have to figure it out. I definitely don't have like one set thing I want to do yet.
Yeah. Well, I know you can be a sport you have to have a law degree to be a sports agent, right? That's one too.
I actually didn't know that, but maybe, yeah.
Yeah, so there's just even more paths to from that degree
Yeah.
besides just being an actual lawyer. So that's pretty cool though. No, I really hope that you that works out for you, man. That's going to be
Thank
a lot
you.
of fun.
Thank
So
you.
let's get back to, I guess, one more lacrosse question, and just
Mhm.
what should be done to help grow women's lacrosse from your perspective?
I think it's been like the game has been growing recently just because of more attention to the game in terms of like on social media and like broadcasting games more and talking more about college lacrosse and like even these young players like Chloe Humphrey or someone like other people in the game just kind of showing young girls that you could excel at like a high level. I think it's been a really big thing. So I think even like podcasts and Instagrams like this just showing kind of like that as well as men's lacrosse that women can compete at a high level.
Now, what advice would you give those younger players listening to this on what it takes to sort of be a college lacrosse player like yourself?
I would definitely say get on the wall and work on your stick work. That's like my biggest thing. And kind of the biggest thing that also Top Guns has reinforced for us growing up because there are a bunch of really good athletes and people who might be faster or stronger than you that maybe it's out of your control, but you could definitely control your stick work and how much time you put into your skills.
Well, Ann, do you have any shout outs you want to give to your teammates, family members, friends, and who should we have on the podcast next?
If I had to give a shout out to someone on my team to come on, I would say my fellow attacker, Gracie Driggs. I think she was on the receiving end of a lot of my assists this year, and she's just a great finisher. So I would definitely have to give a shout out to her.
Well, Ann, I want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your day and coming on the podcast. I know you're super busy, but it means a lot to us. And just want to say that you're a great player and an even better person, and wishing you all the best for your recovery this summer. And can't wait to see you back on the field. And I know once all the lacrosse stuff's done in a few years, you're going to be a great lawyer one day.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And thanks for taking the time to talk to me.